West Africa, there are more labels. In East Africa, it's more like we depend on distributors for the sustainability of our artists. So the artists that you hear every year releasing music, just check their distributors. That's who's giving them the money, who's backing them up, because we don't have drug money. We do not have sponios.
Those sponsors around.
You say it as it is. You talk that talk, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. This is a really refreshing conversation.
Yeah, it is.
It's giving even some of us a lot of hope, to move dust off the microphone.
This is the best time to be an artist.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, the best.
Yeah,
Since the pandemic,
Yeah.
it has been the best time to be an artist in Kenya.
And how is the listenership in say like the 254? To be honest, we don't support each other as much. Like when you look at the numbers for artists like in Tanzania, Uganda, like the numbers are really big.
Right.
But here it takes a bit of time. So how would you get the listenership here and outside there?
So the huge misconception is that Kenyans don't like or listen to Kenyan music. In fact, Kenyans are the first consumers of Kenyan music. And the Kenyan music that's consumed, so when in general, the Kenyan music that's most popular or most consumed is not urban music. It's usually Tony Nyadundo or Samido. Those are the legends. Like, those guys get consumed more and their shows get more people than, say, even Sauti Sol. But since the pandemic, there's been a huge improvement in the consumption of music. I think just before the pandemic, there was also Gengeton, which also was very local, and a lot of people started that whole conversation of is quality or whatever. The thing that people missed in that whole conversation is that as people are debating so that they can hate or love it, they were listening to the music.
That's true.
Yeah, true.
And so it created a loyalty of sorts. So Kama, for example, this year Gengeton has had a resurgence. During the pandemic, it had cooled down because there was no money going into the kids' pockets. But this year there's a resurgence. There's a lot of, I think the biggest song in Kenya right now is a Gengeton song, Kuna Kuna, and
and they've tried to kind of just
make it mainstream.
Yeah.
And so that's where also Gengeton is going in terms of consumption globally. Itakuwa very global sound standard wise. So the Kenyan market, the fans listen, because actually, so continentally, Kenyan listeners rank, because for Nigerian artists, this is their number one market after Nigeria. For South African artists, this is their number one market after South Africa. Even Tanzania Diamond the other day was saying when they release music, their primary focus is Kenya. For East Africa. If Jakubalika Kenya, then so Kenyan listeners rank. The thing is right now, because we actually pay for, paying for subscription for Spotify and pay for YouTube, and actually just listen. Like if an artist said skizeni song, I say 100 people right now, and then I drop 100 people will
come.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that is the thing about what I tell artists about the numbers that they see, for example, from the Nigerian people or the West Africans. Just beware of what's real. And there was a whole conversation in West Africa about stream farming, which is that they are creating fake numbers. And then Kenya nuku ameshikwa na attention. And Kenyans don't love me. They don't love me the way they like Burna Boy. But Kenyans are genuine fans, because you can see where, for example, I'll use an artist like Willie Paul again. He's a top artist, but when he releases a song, within the first hour, it usually has like almost 300,000 views. And when you go to his shows, it usually has more than 1,000 people going to the shows and singing the songs up on Bele. And he genuinely has social media interaction. So you can see Kenyans actually listen and they actually pay attention to the Kenyan artist.